Is it a good idea? Should we be normalising it as children 10, 11? Should they be much more aware of what it is and the natural side of what it is?
Yeah, I think all kids should be brought up to think it's natural and not to giggle stupidly when they see a woman breastfeeding in a restaurant or something like that. But I feel very divided about this. It depends how they do it, because I tried to breastfeed all 5 of my children, and I failed every single time. And that word failure still stays with me now. It's something I felt I wanted to do because I knew breast is best. We all know breast is best. And I wanted to do it for my children, and I couldn't do it. So I still feel like a failure about it. So if we're going to teach youngsters about breastfeeding, I don't know, show them films maybe to show that it's natural and normal, and discuss it in class that it's natural and normal, but don't say things that are going to make any woman who can't do it feel guilty.
But I think they should have women in there properly breastfeeding, because I think the biggest problem with breastfeeding in our society is we don't see it. Yeah. And we're one of very few cultures where we don't see it. I felt embarrassed, I felt ashamed, I wanted to hide away when I was breastfeeding at a time where I was also feeling really vulnerable and guilty and like I was a terrible mother and all those other things, and I didn't feel supported by society. So in other I had to go to a 4-hour breastfeeding lesson because I'd never really seen anyone breastfeed. Whereas in other cultures, children are seeing the whole time the breast whopping out, you know, and they put it in, and without knowing, they're subliminally being taught how to breastfeed. Yeah. And I had a terrible experience with it.
You too.
And I persevered, and I was crying, and I'm really glad I did persevere, because there is no doubt about it. There is nothing probably on the planet that is as brilliant as breast milk. These incredible bodies we have, women, make this incredible thing called breast milk, and you burn 500 calories a day. Yeah. So cake helps a lot. But, you know, there is this awful thing of feeling guilty, and I think if I am 100% up for this, that children should be taught at school, but what I'd prefer is that everywhere we go in society, when a woman is breastfeeding, it isn't about something sexual, it isn't titties, it's breast, nourishing your child. Mm-hmm. See the way I do it every time?
It's really difficult. I didn't breastfeed the 2 boys when I had them. I knew about breastfeeding. I didn't have to be shown films, because as soon as I was pregnant, every antenatal class you go to, they talked about breastfeeding. So I don't feel I needed to know or see it at 11, because as soon as I was pregnant, they told you all about it anyway.
Didn't help me, though.
And I didn't want to be... Well, that's what I mean. They can show you a million films and a mum coming in and breastfeeding a baby for hours, but if you can't do it naturally... I've had, I had the biggest boobs in school at 13. And everyone was like, oh, you're going to be a great mom, all of that. And they were rubbish. They were absolutely, completely useless. And I didn't feed the boys because I was still working. I was very young, and I don't want to. I just had no inclination to. And then when I got pregnant with Kira, I'd watched my sister Bernie breastfeed Erin. And it was lovely to watch, and they loved it. Bernie loved it. Erin took to it really easy. And I thought, you know what? And Ray really wanted me to breastfeed because, like you said, he was like, it's really good for the baby. Mm. So, and I thought, you know what? She's going to be my last child, and I would like to experience it and say, one way or the other. Anyway, it was horrendous from start to finish. Absolutely horrendous. She was constantly on there, but still crying. I mean, it made me kind of not bond with her a bit at the beginning because I was tired anyway. But the main thing was you have that sense of, I am a rubbish mum, I'm a failure.
So awful.
And as much as I agree you should push breastfeeding, and of course it's the best thing for the baby, but don't be made to feel you should also be... Because I kept getting these midwives going, no, it'll be fine, keep going, keep going. A, I was in agony. B, she wasn't feeding properly. And then it was about the 6th week of trying, and Ray came down in the middle of the night, and I was sitting there with Kira on my breast, absolutely sobbing my heart out.
So I
used to dread her even stirring in her cock, because I'd think, oh, she's going to want to, And so for me, it didn't work. So, and I don't think I should be made to feel like less of a mum because it didn't work.
Well, just
nobody should be.
Interestingly, the study that is in the paper today, it did say that a lot of women felt that they were too embarrassed to breastfeed in cafes or public places, and they worried that they might get judged by other mothers for doing it wrong. So that is a general kind of consensus, that you're aware of people looking at you and maybe you're doing it wrong, and then they're judging you. So we've got to take that out of it. If we can get
a village to feed a baby.
Yes,
everyone has to support.
Absolutely, absolutely that.